Knowles on the News. Susan Knowles.
Hi, everyone. This is Susan Knowles, and this is a special edition of Stand for Truth Radio called Knowles on the News. I know I don't normally come on Fridays and talk to you, but so much has been happening in the world that I wanted to just come on quickly and give you some thoughts that I'm having. You know, things, again, are just happening so rapidly. And what happened yesterday in Roseburg, Oregon, with the tragic shooting death of 9 people allegedly by an idiot, another idiot who is able to get away with doing what he does because in a gun-free zone, he knows that there will be no guns to stop him. I think all of us knew yesterday that something was different. We weren't told right away that the shooter was killed. And normally we hear it in those terms. The shooter has killed himself, the shooter is dead, something to that fact. But when I heard the shooter has been neutralized, I knew that something was different because we've never heard that before. That is a law enforcement term that, of course, means the shooter has been killed, but nobody wanted to say that. Now, why is that? And typically, information comes out so quickly when a shooting like this occurs. We've all seen them in the past. We immediately get pictures. We get, how many weapons were there, on and on and on. And yesterday was completely different. A lot of closed-mouthed people not giving us very much information at all. And we know now, most likely, and we don't even know all the information that I think that we're probably never going to get to know. But we're being told that this person, this shooter, and I won't name him, basically lined people up and asked them if they were Christian. If they failed to answer or answered no, he shot them in the leg. If they answered that they were Christian, he shot them in the head. Yeah, immediately, as we all knew would happen, Obama comes out, and this time, he's even more mad than he normally is. He's got this angry look on his face and real terse look. Perhaps he was watching the Netanyahu speech from earlier in the day when Netanyahu was basically reaming everybody that was sitting in the UN about how they didn't help Israel and how they will remain silent, deafening silence, in the midst of all that is happening to Israel. But I say that sarcastically because I know that Obama doesn't watch Netanyahu. So he couldn't have learned that there, and even if he did, he wouldn't have done as good of a job. But again, he was very angry and talked about, how he comes out there and how each time he has to do this, and it's a rhetoric that he has to say, and it's he, all the way. It's all about Obama. And once again, as so predicted, he calls for gun control. Well, a few months back, I wrote this article about Baltimore, and I don't think anybody really realized what was going on. And I talked in that article about how Baltimore was being set up as the first test city for federalizing the police. And I took some heat for that, with people saying, now, why would you say something like that? You're just wanting to make it up. And someone even accused me of sensationalism. There's a new article out this week from Breitbart, and the heading is, Obama administration and the UN announce global police force to fight extremism in the United States. So maybe the only thing I got wrong was I didn't realize that it was going to be a global police force. Silly me, I thought it was just going to be a federalized police force within the United States. So on Wednesday of this week, while we were busy with things like Donald Trump and where Hillary was in the polls, the Attorney General Loretta Lynch announced at the United Nations that her office would be working in several American cities Baltimore, to form what she called the Strong Cities Network, a law enforcement initiative that would encompass the globe. So look for it in Baltimore, places like Ferguson, places that have recently been hit with riots and looting thanks to the people who like to cause these things to happen, the people who like to see civil unrest. Now we're going to use those as examples of situations where we really need this global police force. Now, let me just remind you of what that means. When we say global police force in the United States, that means you will not have constitutional rights. You know why? Because the Constitution is only valid within the United States. That's why they call it the United States Constitution. Instead, you're looking at following United Nations laws. So this is where we are, and this is where, even with all of this information, people will still claim that nothing's wrong, that we're not headed towards a new world order, that everything is fine, and everybody is just sensationalizing and making it all up. But for those people who are awake, you need to be even more awake these days. You know and I know what's coming. We are at that precipice right now. Ezekiel 38 and 39, you should read it. You should be prepared, and you should prepare those people that you know as best as you can. A lot is changing in this world, and we are seeing what is happening right now, right before our eyes, and it's not looking like it's going to get better. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think so, and I think you understand, and you're right there with me. Until next time, Susan Knowles for Knowles on the News.